Excellent. Hey, it's good to be here. It would be nice if it was under better circumstances. Thanks to Liberty for All and Maria and everybody for putting this together. And I think that it would be prudent for us to kneel in prayer and put the foundation of liberty first. So I'm going to do that right now. God, our guns are not enough, and our will is not enough to preserve the birthright of our children. We have a nation that was founded on the principle that we're all created equal and granted rights from you that cannot be taken away, that are for all men in all places and at all times. And we have a government who has chosen to trample those, and we have a professing church in this nation that have chosen to ignore the abuse of the widow and the fatherless and the innocent, of people like Lavoy, of the killing and the blood that cries from the ground all over this nation, from our unborn babies to patriots like Lavoy who stand for peace and defend the rule of law. And God, we ask that you'll give us strength and direction and repentance and guidance, and let us be righteous in our doings, and let us be merciful and honorable and love our neighbor as ourselves in these trying times. Give us wisdom, we pray, and give us a refuge in liberty. Amen.
Amen.
If you recognize the song, please feel free to join in.
I am so honored to be here today, and looking out here, it's overwhelming to see the support. I knew Lavoy personally. I loved that man. My family loved him. He was amazing, amazing, and he stood for something. He stood what our flag used to stand for before it became a song that we sing at football games or a song that we sing at baseball games. That flag represents men who ran into battle, who willingly gave their lives so that we have the ability to stand here today and be free. To be able to stand here today with our children and to teach them about the liberties that we are giving away. So as we sing the national anthem, remember that flag represents not just Lavoy, but those who died before him, protecting what we take for granted today. So as you join in, just remember that. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I would like to announce my daughter, Garrett Bosworth, who is going to be reading a poem that she wrote in honor of a boy.
Hi guys, for those who don't know, my name is Garrett. Everybody thanked me for writing this poem and told me it was really beautiful, but I feel like he deserves so much more. When I met him in Arizona, he's not someone you can easily forget. He was so full of life, and he loved what he did. He loved his farm, he loved his family, he loved his country. So I'm going to read this to you. And I want you guys, for those of you who met him, to remember who he was and everything he stood for. And if you didn't meet him, you really missed out because he's someone you couldn't forget. He was getting old and paunchy, and his hair was falling fast. And he sat with patriots telling stories of the past. Every ranch that he had fought for and the deeds that he had done, of his children and his wife, he loved them greatly, every single one. And though sometimes to his neighbors his tales became a joke, and all his patriot buddies listened, for they knew whereof he spoke. But we will hear his tales no longer, for old Lavoy has passed, and the world is a little poorer, for a cowboy died today. He will be mourned by many, Lavoy, his children, and his wife, for he lived an extraordinary and quite eventful life. Held a job, raised a family, quietly going his own way, and many won't notice passing. And though he fought a good fight, there is so much I could say, but a cowboy has died today. When politicians leave this earth and their bodies lie in state, while thousands note their passing and proclaim that they were great. Papers tell their stories from the time when they were young, but the passing of Tart Man goes hardly noticed and unsung. It is the greatest contribution to the welfare of our land. A man who breaks his promise and cons his fellow man, or the ordinary fellow who, in times of war and strife, goes off to serve his country and offers up his life. A politician's stipend in the style in which he lives is sometimes disproportionate to the service that he gives, while the ordinary cowboy who offered up his all is paid off with harassment, and according to the government, we're all terrorists after all. It's so easy to forget, because it was so long ago, that it was the old cowboys of our country. They went to battle and fought for everything, but we know it was not the politicians with their compromised employees who won for us our freedom that our country has now destroyed. Should you find yourself in danger with your rights gone at the wave of a hand, would you want a politician with his ever-shifting stand? Or would you prefer a cowboy who has sworn to defend his home, his kin, and country, and would die for it again? He was just a common cowboy who stood for freedom, but his presence should remain with us. We may need his like again. For when our country is in conflict, we find the patriot's part is to clean up the troubles that the politicians start. If we cannot honor him while he's here to hear the praise, then at least let's give him homage at the ending of his days. Perhaps just a simple headline in the paper that would say, "Our country is in mourning for a cowboy died today."
I would like to introduce Jimmy. He actually was at the refuge, was there about 10 days, and I let him have the opportunity to speak today. So, Larry.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming here. I know Lavoy would really appreciate it, and I know everybody out in the Maui really appreciates it what's out there. Sure. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I wrote something that I want to say. So I'll do my glasses. I can't read my glasses on. I was blessed with the opportunity to personally meet Lavoy. I am unable to express how much standing in his presence and talking to him moved me. I have to honestly say I've never met such a brave and dedicated man. I hope I can get through it. I can only hope that someday I will have half the courage he had. When Lavoy spoke to me, I could feel his calm and courage. Very briefly, I had the opportunity to meet some of his family members. Lavoy was extremely proud of his family, and I could tell he loved them very much, and he was willing to give his life to protect them. Lavoy gave his life trying to save the other people in his truck and protect his family, my family, your family, you and me. How much is any person expected to give? When I heard Lavoy was killed, I cried. I got angry. I asked myself why. Why was Lavoy killed? Lavoy was gunned down in an ambush because he cared about his children, our children, you and me, and the truth. In talking to Lavoy, I understood very well that he had had enough of people telling him about all the corruption we have in government and never doing anything about it. I can fully relate how frustrated Lavoy was with the fact that the public officials he paid with taxes he earned from his hard work took every opportunity they could to attack him and his family. I understand Lavoy's fight against these predators and parasites. Lavoy had enough of putting up with disrespectful, dishonest, arrogant, greedy, power-stuffed public officials and employees. He had the courage to stand against them. Lavoy was a taxpayer all of his life, paying for government officials who have never been actually taxpayers. Like me, Lavoy knew the Hammonds were victims of government oppression that incarcerates and kills ranchers for being ranchers and taxpayers for being taxpayers. The public official who held office only because of his hard work organized together to ambush and murder him for standing up to expose the corruption involved and the government employees incarcerating taxpayers for being taxpayers. I do not understand what is worse, arrogant public officials and employees who are knowingly placing all of our children in debt because of their personal greed and believing they are entitled to receive public employment and a higher wage than the majority of all working class citizens, or those public officials who believe they are entitled to hold public employment instead of it being a privilege they can never abuse. Lavoy was killed for trying to expose the truth involving the unlawful incarceration of the Hammonds. Lavoy personally told me it was my moral duty to expose the truth and corruption involved in their persecution and incarceration, and I intend to do the best I can for him and his family and their family. Lavoy understood that today all economically vulnerable working individuals are prey for predator attorneys, and how difficult it is for anyone to obtain the truth. Lavoy went to Harney County to give the people of Harney County the courage to stand up for truth, honor, and justice. Lavoy trusted his life to the people of Harney County, and the members of the corrupt judicial system we have in place all over our country were determined to silence him and keep him from testifying to the judicial abuse that has led to the unlawful incarceration of the Hammonds. Lavoy was a whistleblower who deserved protection and did not get the protection he deserved. The judicial members who persecuted and incarcerated the Hammonds were desperate to silence Lavoy, to try to take away the courage that Lavoy brought to the people of Harney County and replace their courage with fear, because those judicial members know they will face criminal charges when the truths are exposed. The judicial branches all across our country are corrupt and created tyranny and are in desperate need of repair. The state bar members have continually engaged in actions to remove all the checks and balances over them, and they have become the elite our forefathers did everything in their power to prevent and warned us of. Justice and our domestic tranquility has been sacrificed for the greed involved in their judicial industry. We cannot continue to allow the judicial branches to run wild out of control. They need to be reined in now, not later, as the domestic tranquility of our entire country is at stake. Currently, we are doing the best to help the people in and around Harney County reach their jury roll call indexes and call forth inquest juries and grand juries so the truth about the prosecutorial misconduct and the culpability of the Hammonds attorneys involved can be exposed and addressed. When the truth comes out, the Hammonds will be released, and the Oregon State Bar members who persecuted and prosecuted the Hammonds will take their place in our prisons. We will not let them slip into obscurity, nor will we allow the murderers who organized to silence Lavoy's testimony escape prosecution. The truth may not matter to any state bar members, but it matters to us, and it's going to matter from here now going forward. And I'm going to do the best to see that it does, so help me God.
Hear, hear.